Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Today's video is a review of the books that I read in 2020. Now, the stack beside me is very small. I do wish that I had read more, but I am not a big reader. I've only recently pushed myself to read more, and the beginning of this year, I don't think I read very much at all because there was just a lot going on for several months. So even though this stack may seem very small to some people, I'm still proud of it because I don't read a lot. This is probably the most I've read in a long time. And most of it I read within the last few months. So I've been doing really well the last few months. The first 6 months of the year, I hardly did any reading. It's going to be a short video and a very small stack of books, but let's get into it. Now, the first 3 books in my pile, I'm not positive that I read them this year. I know that I read them either late last year or early this year, but I don't remember what books I read at the beginning of this year, and I hadn't started YouTube until September, so I hadn't been recording videos. I hadn't even thought about doing YouTube until like June or something. Actually, no, maybe before that. Maybe it was earlier in the year, but I hadn't really thought about doing book reviews. So yeah, these first 3, I maybe didn't read them this year, but I feel like I must have read something before June. I just don't know what it was. So we're gonna pretend that it was these 3 books. It might not have been, but I know that I read them fairly recently, so yeah, we're just gonna go with it. The first one I have is The Huntress of Thornback Forest. I really loved this book. It's a fairy tale retelling, I think. I'm not positive which one. Like, I know it definitely has Robin Hood vibes, but I couldn't pick out another specific fairy tale, and it might be one that I don't know. So I'm not exactly positive. Please, if somebody knows what fairy tales it is based on, let me know in the comments because I would really like to know. Nothing really stood out to me other than Robin Hood. But it was a really fun read. I read it with my niece, and there were a couple parts that I had to skip. Like, it's not meant for, 7 or 8-year-olds, but for the most part, it was clean and it was great. It is a Christian fiction, or at least the author is Christian, so there were some Christian themes in it. So for the most part, it was great to read with her, and she really loved it. The second book is The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. My sister got me this for my birthday to help complete my Robert Louis Stevenson collection, and it took me a really long time to read it because it opened it was kind of boring in the beginning, and so I didn't really get into it, and then I put it aside for a long time, so I finally picked it up again. Like I said, either late last year or early this year. We're pretending it was early this year. And I read it, and I'm really glad to have read the actual story because, this is a story that a lot of people know, and I've seen the VeggieTale version and the Once Upon a Time version, but it was really nice to read the actual version, the first version of the story. So yeah, it's just a novella, which I didn't know. I thought it was a full novel, but yeah, a novella. It was a good read. I really did like it. Like I said, it's kind of slow in the beginning, but I feel like Stevenson tends to have slow parts in his books, so that's kind of par for the course with Stevenson. He has really amazing stories and amazing characters, but there are definitely parts that drag a little bit more. I've just come to expect that. But overall, it was really great. Then we have A Night of Cake and Puppets. This is a companion book to the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, and I really loved it. It's so sweet. It's a romance. It's so cute. I really loved it. Totally different from the series, but still an amazing read. Alright, the rest of these books I have review videos on, so if you want to get the full review, then check them out. I'm going to try to go through these quickly, so let's just get into it. Pirate Latitudes by Michael Crichton. Loved this book. Firecombe Manor. I read this with my mom. We both really enjoyed it. It's a historical novel. The first historical novel that I've read, and I loved it, and I'm looking to purchase more in the future. To Kill a Kingdom. My least favorite read of the year and possibly ever. Well, I probably can't say that. I'm sure I've read some things in school that I hated more than this. But possibly my least favorite fiction novel. Yeah, you can see my review, but I didn't like it very much. It was hard for me to get through. There are some good elements in it, and I know a lot of people really loved it, but for me, it was just not good. And, that's just my opinion. Like I said, a lot of people did love it, but I did not. The Girl Who Could See, a novella by Kara Swanson. I did really like this one. It's a fantasy type book, maybe sci-fi, I don't know. With books like these, I'm not really sure what to call them, but it was a really great book. Really sweet. I did like it. Dust by Kara Swanson. I really like this too. It's a Peter Pan retelling, and I love Peter Pan so much. And there was so much about this book that I loved, especially Peter. Like, I think he was just written so well. So again, you can check out my full review if you want to, but overall I liked it. Like a Feather by Naomi Kenyon. I really, really liked this one too. It was a really sweet, charming read, and it really took me by surprise. It's got a lot of fantasy and sci-fi elements to it, which I was not expecting, and overall I think it was done really well. I like this one. My book, Here's to the Underdogs. You can check out my review. I did do a review of this book too, even though I wrote it, but I will say the characters are charming, the book is sweet. It has a lot of structural issues and formatting issues that I'm hoping to eventually fix, but plot-wise and character-wise, I think it was great. I still love my book. And The Hunter's Moon. This is such a shiny cover that I don't really know how to show it, but you get the idea. It's got some beautiful purple in it that I love, but it doesn't really show up on camera. Anyway, The Hunter's Moon, I liked this book. I really did. Actually, I'm recording this on December 19th, so I'm probably going to read a few more books before the year is over. But in just a few days, I'm going to be visiting some family for Christmas, so I don't want to be trying to rush and do videos in that time. I figured I would record today while I had a nice quiet chance to record. So I will hopefully be reading at least the second book in this series. Maybe the second and third books. I don't think I will finish the fourth book. It's this one. Just look at the difference. This is 280 pages, or no, 260 pages, somewhere around there. That one is 680 pages approximately. So it's going to take me a while to get through. But anyway, I did just finish reading this like 2 days ago, and I am hoping to read the next one. As of December 19th, these are the books that I've read. There are 2 books that I started this year and didn't finish. Prey by Michael Crichton. This one, actually, I might have started last year. I'm not positive, but I didn't finish it. We're gonna just say that I did it this year. And Girls of Paper and Fire. I do hope to read this eventually, but I started it and just didn't get into it, and then I stopped reading it. So I can't say that there was anything really wrong with it. I didn't finish it. So those are the books that I read in 2020. I'm hoping to do a lot more reading in 2021, but that might be a little bit difficult when I start a job and when I go to college possibly. But until then, I'm going to do all the reading that I can and hopefully get a lot more read. I've had a good several months of reading since September or October. I've done a lot more reading than I ever have, and I've really enjoyed it, so I hope I can continue that. Let me know how you did with reading in 2020. Did you set a goal? Did you reach that goal? How many books did you read? I would love to hear. And there is no shame in any number of books that you read, whether you read 5 books or 100 books or 200 books or I don't know, some crazy number. I don't know. Some people read a lot of books and I don't know how they do it, but I envy them. I mean, I only read, what, like a dozen books, if that, but I'm still proud of that. So let me know how many books you read. Have a blessed day, everyone.